Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. A big welcome to all of you. My name is Laura, and I am delighted that you are joining us for today's ESPC community webinar. This is the first webinar of Power Platform Week, and today I am joined by Alexander, who will talk to you about Copilot in Power Pages. And I am also joined by Gift, who will talk to you guys about Power Automate Mastery. We love hearing what you guys have to say, so remember to join in on the conversation about today's webinar and more on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @EuropeanSP and our hashtag is #ESPC23. Tweet us, at us, and tell us what you guys learned. Don't forget to check out the Resource Centre, which is updated daily with the latest blogs, ebooks, webinars, and how-to videos. You can access and view the Resource Centre by visiting our website, sharepointeurope.com, and clicking the Content tab at the top. Don't let the learning stop here. Continue to keep up and stay ahead by joining us for our next webinar, The Poetics and Politics of a Successful Power Platform Rollout Strategy, with Edith Katcari. This webinar takes place tomorrow, Tuesday, the 12th of September, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. CEST. For more information on this webinar, you can check out our website, sharepointeurope.com/Power Platform Week. ESPC is fast approaching. If you are looking for a vibrant Microsoft 365 and Azure conference that is jam-packed with groundbreaking insights, visionary keynotes, hands-on workshops, and exciting networking opportunities, then it is time to secure your early bird tickets for ESPC. But why should you attend ESPC? Well, at ESPC, you can receive valuable insights by attending a variety of session types across the biggest Microsoft 365 and Azure topics, catering from levels 100 right through to 400. Hear from Microsoft product team members, regional directors, MVPs, MCMs, and independent experts. ESPC is also a great way to build your professional network and meet like-minded people from across the globe. Share and receive advice from fellow attendees, but also from our very friendly and helpful speakers. ESPC also helps you to keep up and get ahead with the product developments and practices that matter the most. Find new and better ways of working to bring new energy and effectiveness to your work. And you can expect the latest news straight from Insight. So invest in your team, invest in yourself, and invest in your career by learning new skills or mastering current ones at ESPC. Book before September 29th to avail of our early bird pricing and our special team discounts. And you can visit sharepointeurope.com to secure your tickets. At ESPC, there will be over 20 Microsoft Power Platform sessions to choose from. Topics include Power Apps, Power BI, Power Pages, Power Automate, ChatGPT, Dataverse, custom connectors, and much, much more. Don't miss out on this fantastic learning opportunity. You can visit sharepointeurope.com/conference/schedule/2023 to check out the wide range of Power Platform sessions available at ESPC. So after the webinar, we will have a questions and answers session. Type any questions that you might have into the questions window. Questions will be selected and answered at the end of the presentation. This webinar will be recorded and added to the Resource Centre, where you will be notified by email when it is available. Next, I'm going to pass you over to today's second mini webinar presenter, Gift. Hello, Gift.
Yeah, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep. Okay, good afternoon to everybody. I will be sharing my screen. Okay, yeah, quickly, I have a slide to run through, then we go jump straight to the practical aspects. So basically, The topic for today is catalyzing integration excellence with Postman and mastery. So basically, you all understand that basically in the world we are into presently, we need to integrate a lot. So that it's the need. I am by name Gift Ahmed. Quickly, introduction to integrating excellence. You have to first and foremost be able to figure out the pieces together so that you can make the right puzzles. Then you have to understand the seamless processes that works together. Then finally, you have to understand the technical back roads and backlogs on it. That is, in our own case today, we'll be considering two major things, which is the Postman, which is an API agent, and we also be considering the Power Automate together. So, Postman is an API development platform where we collaborate, automate, and also monitor things. So, while that of Power Automate, it allows us do things in low code automation. We integrate easily because it allows us connect with external sources, and then we can also customize our workflows. So these are basically some of the features that Postman gives us that allows us as developers, as users, to quickly understand how these things work. So the first one is that there is good documentation, API documentations. We can have mark servers, we have environmental variables, and we have collection runners. All these are well documented, so it allows us um, use Power Automate faster. Then here, these are some of the capabilities of Power Automate, which include the design flow, where you can actually design your flow from the beginning to the end, and you can now go ahead and automate it. It gives us approval processes, data transformation, and we'll be looking at some of these practically here. Now, a quick one before we go, the best practices for integration. In all cases, the first case you have, the first scenario is always having a clear use case of what you are going to do with it. Then also you need to automate consistently. Documentation is necessary. Then you have to test and validate your processes. So in conclusion, we have becoming a master of your integration. You have to understand and do more of it. You have to step up your game of integration, and you also have to work with partners. You have to consider third-party applications and how you can integrate it to become a master of what you do. Now to the case we'll be looking at today, our scenario. We have a case where all tax processes must be collected, procedures must be collected through the website by the vendors. Real-time details are mandated to track vendors' transactions, and the receipt must be promptly emailed upon collection. Now, we could have a website where this runs, but we need to do some other processes like possibly emailing it to them, building a dashboard that tracks the amount of money being collected at a particular period of time, and also all this could come in. So now we can facilitate that by deploying a postman mechanism. When payment are submitted, we enable them, we extract the information and populate it into a sheet or into a workbook, into a data verse, or any form of data source, then it can now be used by relevant teams. So quickly, before I move further, now I will be going to my Postman. Hope you can still see my screen. Okay. So quickly, this is Postman. And in Postman, basically, you can always click here. You can come into your work your workspace, then you can create a new action, or you click on the plus icon at the top. Then you create your new uh, agent. Then quickly on my on my screen here, I already have something here based on what we are going to be doing. So basically, how this flows runs is that we're going to be putting in a JSON file of what we need here. Then we are going to be passing it into we're going to be passing it through a JSON. Then we collect the individual records, then populate it into a SharePoint list, then possibly have email being sent. And also we can decide to have it being automatically or in real time updated into a local Excel sheet for other parties to use who don't have access to the data uh, to the data from the SharePoint, be it maybe due to organization policies and some other constraints. So for we to start this today, first and foremost, I created a SharePoint. Now, for you to create a SharePoint, definitely you have to come to SharePoint site from your from your Microsoft 365. Then you can create a new site. But I already have one here, which is the test. So you can click on that. Once you do that, you can click on my list to see all your lists, or you click on create. Once you click on create, quickly you can see list down here. Click on lists. So what this does basically is that it takes you to the environment of lists. So now you can quickly create either a blank list from an Excel, depending on the case study you want to go. That's how I did that. Then from here, I already have the list, which is the full name, the phone number, the email address, the home address, the status of the individual, and the amount paid. I said it's more or less like a tax collection system where they have to pay. Now, if you want to add in any of these columns, you just click on add a column. You would have to select the type of data that will be stored in that column. It could be text. Then you hit next and you type in the column's name here. So once you do that now, it gives you as it creates the columns and you can populate that. So back to Postman. In Postman, what we all the columns there which I stated, which is the full name, you can just bring it out. So for you to do that, you come to a new one. Then you have to select what we call the post, because we're going to be posting the information. You come to the body, then you would come to you can come to raw, then you come to JSON. Now, once you do this, you have achieved your first step by locating where you are going to write your JSON file, because this has to be passed in a JSON format. So, and anytime you want to write a JSON, you always start with a curly bracket, then you list your variables, which I showed you here, like this. It's going to have the full name, then the value, the phone number, the value, the email, the value, and all of that. That's how JSON works. Now, back to Power Automate. Now, quickly, if we come to Power Automate, we create a new flow. We're going to create an automated cloud flow. I can I can just skip this for now. Let it just create. Then I find my trigger. Okay, I'm going to type in HTTP. So I'm going to send a post request. Now you click on post request. So I said that in Postman you have to draft out your Postman the JSON file. So we can grab that. Then come over to the uh, Power Automate. Then you can use where it says use sample generation. Once you do that, you post that here. Now, what this does is that it helps you to create this in a JSON format, which will be extracted. So you click on done. Then don't forget to come to the method, and you have the post method, because even in our Postman, I said you should select post. So don't forget that. So once you do that now, you notice that the URL, the post URL is not generated yet. So for you to achieve this, what you have to do is you have to add a step and try to save before it can generate. So possibly let's just add a compose that should do, so that we can try to save it. Okay. So we can just add a compose. The input should just be the body. Then now we try to save this. So now it's trying to save. Yeah, it's saved now. So if you come over here and you notice that the URL has been generated, that is the post URL. So you can quickly grab that now. Now come over to uh, your Power Automate, your Postman. Then you post the URL here. So don't also forget that you have to get your JSON formats here. So once you do this now, you have been able to do that. Now, what we are just doing now is that we are just trying to see how we can get this JSON format back into something like our SharePoint list, into our Dataverse, depending on the case you want to apply it. Then if you come over to this place now, you can try to save. Once you save, I just want to show you what this body will show you. So you try clicking on tests. Now you have to use a manual test. You said manual. Then you come to your Postman. Then try to send this. You can try sending this. Okay, I would later, I will show you how you can get your response back displayed here, so that you see whether it's done. But with this, it shows accepted. So if I come over to my Power Automate, you would see that the flow ran successfully. So you can easily just view what happened in the flow. This was the schema. And if you come down to the output, you would see that you have all the data being extracted into various columns. And there you go. Same thing applied here. So now basically this is it just trying to get the data you send from Postman into Power Automate. Now, quickly before I move further, now in practical application, you would have something like that looks like this, because possibly it's a website. And what I want to just point out is that you have a website that looks, or a form that looks like this, and make sure that the variable, that's the variable name must always have the same parameters with whatever you are going to use within your Postman. Some example here, I have name as full name, phone, and under the phone number, I have it as phone number, and like that, up to amount paid, I have it as income amount underscore amount. So make sure that you have this exactly the way it is, because take for instance, if I decide to change this, maybe vendors now, and I decide to change it to vendors one, when I try running this code, it will definitely not pick the variable for vendors. So please take note of that. So it has to have the same naming convention. So we can edit this now. Then now that we know we are getting our variable from here, quickly we can decide to remove this, because I want to pass it as a JSON. So I would uh, add a new action, which is can just as JSON. Okay, I'm going to be passing a JSON. Now, what am I going to be passing to it? I'm going to be passing the body, because that's what I want to get. So similarly, as we generated the schema here, you can either grab the schema from here, or if you have the JSON you have from your Postman, you can come here and you tell it to generate a sample, you paste it as we did earlier, then you say done. So once that's done, it automatically generates the schema for you. Now, we know that the schema is going to take it, is going to pass through and store each of them as a variable. So that's where the idea of SharePoint I earlier mentioned comes in. So here I already have a SharePoint called the SharePoint list called tax system test. So now back to our Power Automate. I'm going to create an item in SharePoint. Then create. So I have SharePoint. Then you check for where it says create an item. So you have to select the SharePoint, that is the SharePoint site. Then you also have to select the SharePoint list. So once you do that, you just wait for it. So these are all the columns that are currently available in the SharePoint site that I showed here like this. So now what you have to do is to, since you are dynamically breaking, you have to pass in the dynamic variables. Since you already break the JSON, the JSON here, you will have the dynamic attributes of each of them. So you just populate them, full name. We have the next one here is we have the email. So I'll search for email. This was what I was saying. You have to make sure you have the same naming convention. Then we have phone number. We have home address. Then we have status. We have status. We have the source of income. So we have the amount yeah, we can have the amount there. Then we have, okay, I have methods of payments. Okay, I just have, once you, if you can't find it, you can search that date due. You can also search that due date. So now the vendor ID, you can search that. If you can't find it, just type in the search vendors. So now we have populated that. We can save. Once you save now and you try going back to tests, and we can use the one we did before. You can run, you do a test on it. So what you will get is this item being created into the JSON format. So here now you can see the email was passed, the address was passed, the method of payment, the due date, all the variables were passed in. So quickly, now what I want you to understand here is that we are passing this, and it could come in a case where you have to send out an email, you have to send out, you have to have a real-time access to this data. So in that case, you have to create possibly a flow again that checks when an item is being modified from that SharePoint site. So you update it in the Excel file. You may ask me, how do you get the Excel file? So quickly, if you come here, you can export as an CSV as an Excel. Because for this video, I exported as an Excel. So once you get it as an Excel, so it downloads to your system. Then I tried putting it into the SharePoint documents, where you have it here as tax system. So as tax system, okay, we have it here now. So now what this does is that every time you populate your Postman, anytime you populate this, it automatically updates this this Excel in real time. So, and for this one, I will be showing you this site that I showed you here. We can just load it as a HTML. Then don't mind the form. It's just, so take for instance, I want to fill the form in the website now. Gift Ahmed, my name, the email address. I can add two. Then I can have I'm staying in Abuja. So capital A, Abuja. Then I'm an individual, unemployed. Then the amount possibly 1,000, depending on what you want to do. Are you paying by transfer or card? Then you can select the due date today. Then who is the vendor ID, possibly O1. Then you submit. So once you do this now, you can come over to this Excel and watch what happens soon. You will notice that a new record should be populated here. You just refresh. Okay. Sometimes it takes some minutes for it to come. So, okay, now we can come back to our flow. Then I earlier showed you that we can have it create, possibly send out an email. Now, to send out an email, you have to add the send email attributes. So we can edit this form. Now you can add in a new step. You can add in a new step and you say send an email, send email. So we use our Outlook for Business. And now here we're going to be dynamically sending it, because if you remember, it says here that it should be sent on prompt. So now we are going to get dynamic content from the email address of the recipient. That's who filled the email that we stored in the SharePoint database. Then you could add, okay, you could add hello, then something like the person's name, because you have that full name. Then you could just add in some other text, like something like your task is okay. You put the amount you paid, and once you do this now, you can just this is just a test. You can save depending on what you want to do. Then once it saves, you can go back, run a, you can, let's do a manual test. Then we do a manual test. We can come over to, while it loads, we come over here and we fill in this data quickly. We can have, let me use so that I can show you the email. Okay, Abuja. Then we have the amount 1,000. Then cash. Okay, fine. Due dates. Then ID. So once you submit this now, it says successful. Then if you come over to your flow, it should be successful. It should show you successful depending on, okay, let's go back. Okay, we check the flow. Okay, 2 seconds ago, we check it out and let's see. Yeah, it worked. So now if I come, the email was sent out to Gift Ahmed 2. That's my email. So if I come here, I can see that the email, I got the email right here. So basically, that's how we can go about that. In conclusion, so you can see how I've moved within from HTML sites where you have to do it on your site, how we connected it in Postman and send it to SharePoint file. Then we can have a real-time update. Yeah, it arrived, Abuja, and this is it. Here it arrived. So yeah, the second one just arrived now. You can see it automatically updates regularly within time, within any period of time. So hopefully with this, you have been able to see some of the things you can do with Power Automate. You can take this further by building a dashboard from the real-time Excel storage, or from that in SharePoint. You can decide to take it into Dataverse and for business tracking, email, and all of that. Thank you very much. And I think I'm done here. Thank you. Hello.
Brilliant. Thank you, Gift, for a wonderful presentation and demo. So we have a couple of minutes left now for a Q&A. So I'll just check what questions we have here. So again, if you have a question for either Gift or Alexander, please feel free to type it into the questions box. So the first question I can see here is someone wants to know, when is Copilot going to be available to everyone?
So right now there is no GA when Copilot will go for everyone. So, but it should probably be somewhere after the new year, or maybe even closer to the next release wave. But there is, again, no specific date from Microsoft.
Brilliant. Thanks, Alexander. So another question here is, someone wants to know, they have a couple of questions here in Power Automate. So the first one is how to avoid sending emails to third-party users. For example, they have a Power Apps application. They are sending an invitation to the users, both organization and third party. The thing is, if the user is third party, he'll get two emails, one from organizational email and another one from Microsoft. They want to avoid these emails and they're wondering how they can do this.
Yeah, basically, for you to get that, that means you can have a contact list. Possibly you build out your own contact list and you send it specifically to those who are on those contact lists, and not just anyone within that fills the form. That is, the email are being stored possibly in a Dataverse contact list. Then you can push out an email to only those in that contact list. Some other cases you might decide to create, possibly if it's a team, you can decide to create a team, add all individuals who are supposed to get that email and send it to them.
Brilliant. Thank you, Gift. So another question in here for you, Gift. Someone wants to know, can you explain if the solution monitors real-time incoming payment? And if so, how does it achieve it?
Okay. Yeah, for real time, I just I try to work within my time. So, but in terms of this, if I'm given some minutes, what I can do is that from the SharePoint, I can create a Power BI dashboard. So once I create a Power BI dashboard, I set an auto refresh on it. So anytime payment is being made, the dashboard updates automatically. So with that, even the admins can just look onto the dashboard any time of the day and know how much that they have or have been collected so far within that day or within that month.
Brilliant. Thanks, Gift. So another question then, someone is asking, I think this one is for Alexander, and they want to know, can you provide insights into any future developments or enhancements planned for Copilot in Power Pages?
Yeah, it's a tough question. Again, I cannot speak from Microsoft, but from what I can see right now and how it's going, I would say that it's just will become more contextual and will better understand what exactly you're working on. For example, in Visual Studio Code, it might understand the context if you're calling it inside the web page or JavaScript for a specific form, and get those fields into consideration, and will become much more smart. So, for example, in a demo, I needed to provide specific values for option set that was not the standard one, but in the future, it might understand the context. Again, for the moment, it's just general speculation. There is no like timeline for this.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you. So just another question then. Gift, I think this one is following up on a previous question for yourself. So this person is asking, if we use approval action in Power Automate, it'll throw an error like this user does not have permission to create a database. If I am using environments as a user, how to enable it for users in environments?
Yeah, kind of. If I get the question right, they are using it as a third party, or they don't have the Office 365 package. Is that what they are trying to say? Sorry. Based on what I can see, I mean, for you to use any premium package, you have to be subscribed, or you have to have at least a developer E5 license. So, and within that, they will give you a trial period which you can use for all of that. But if it's just a normal account, you won't have that privilege.
Brilliant. And then the same person just has one more question, and they're wondering if they use approval request, it will send an email Teams notification, and they're wondering how to disable the Teams notification when a new request is triggered through the flow, and they don't want to use adaptive cards, and they don't want to change the settings in Teams.
That they would get that in cases where you have a team that you are sending to. For this particular demo that I did, it won't send any email to Teams. Yes. But depending on the case scenario, in a case where you have a team and they are specifically managing that particular team, in that case you have to find other way around it. But in a case where you just have a list and you are fetching the list and you're sending directly back to the recipient of the email that submitted the form, you won't have that.
Brilliant. So that is all the questions that we have here today. So I'm just going to wrap up the Q&A session there now. So just on behalf of the ESPC community, I just want to extend a huge thank you again to both of you, Alexander and Gift, for taking the time today to carry out this webinar. We really do appreciate it. So that is the end of today's webinar. You can find this webinar and more at sharepointeurope.com/resource center. That is it for today, folks. Thanks again to everyone for joining us, and take care, and we hope that you'll join us again for more learning. Bye for now.
Thank you very much.